President Obama, as you saw here on Bloomberg News, spoke to reporters today from the East Room of the White House. For more on what the president had to say about the BP oil spill and offshore drilling, we go now to Amy Jaffe, who is a fellow in energy studies at the Baker Institute and the associate director of the Rice University Energy Program. She joins us now from Houston. Amy, welcome to Bloomberg News. Good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Amy, you saw the president's press conference today, his remarks. What did you think?
Well, I think the president really has no choice. We have to have a moratorium. I think some of the theories on what happened are starting to come out in the media, and those ideas have to be vetted and in an official way. But I think the bottom line here is one of the things we now realize is that the industry has very limited capability to slow the flow of oil after a blowout. And that really changes the equation for offshore drilling.
Yeah, Amy, might I ask, though, because one of our guests used the analogy, he said, if there's a plane crash, you don't shut down all plane service. Is a moratorium definitely in the best interest here?
Well, I think we have to have what I call trade-offs. When one plane crashes, if it were to turn out there was something wrong with the engines of every plane in the United States, I think what you would see is people would stop doing air travel. So the question is, what's human error and what isn't? But the reality is that there is no good backup plan, emergency plan, for once you have a blowout. And so I do think there has to be a reevaluation of the policy. We have to go back and think about what safety requirements we're going to have for future operators, permitting for drilling on leases. And we probably also need to rethink the leasing policy, because now we have a company, BP. If it is found to be, after a process, to be negligent in its practices, how do we get those leases back from them? Because there is no legal process for that.
I'm also curious, Amy, when we talk about the leak and the technology, because the president mentioned numerous times that BP is the one that has technological expertise on this matter. I mean, where is the burden going forward, especially as someone who's an academic? Is there any research in academia? Is it just on the corporations in order to figure out what to do after a spill like this happens?
Well, I think it really should be a matter of both the government and the industry and universities to come up with a better response. I mean, now, the emperor has no clothes. We understand that we don't have adequate emergency procedures to stop a well after a blowout. I mean, clearly we need to have a technical solution to that.
All right, Amy Jaffe, a fellow in energy studies at the Baker Institute at Rice University in Houston. Ms. Jaffe, thanks so much. We appreciate your input.
Thank you very much.